Sorry, bronies. I tried. So, here we go. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to put a list of 5 stereotypes that exist about furries, and then I'm going to talk about what the data show. So these are the 5 ones I'm going to go over. Sexual attraction to animals. Sexual attraction to stuffed animals, plus or minus. Are all furries single and sexless? Are all furries gay? And are furries like these very effeminate, very feminine sort of males? So, one by one.
No.
So, zoophilia, defined as a sexual attraction to animal skin or animal fur. In the furry fandom, between 2 and 16% of furries say that they have some kind of sexual attraction to animal skin or animal fur.
What?
Now,
2 and 16%? That's pretty
between
good.
it's because it's been asked in different ways. So depending on how you phrase the question, you get slightly
It's
different
still the
answers.
same question.
In the general population, it is between 7.5% and 15%.
So higher than nomination. Huh.
The prevalence of zoophilia is not any higher in the furry fandom than has been found in the general population. Furries may feel more willing to be open about it or to talk about it, but it doesn't happen, according to the data we have, it doesn't happen any more frequently.
Fascinating.
Plushophilia, a sexual attraction to stuffed animals.
Lyra, why?
In the furry fandom, between 1 and 11% of furries have said that they have a sexual attraction to stuffed animals.
Yeah, another 90% ain't admitting it.
You're saying more about yourself than you care to admit.
That's the difference between bronies and furries.
In control samples, we don't actually have data. This has never been asked of a general population, so we don't actually know.
Why?
And there's a lot of problems with this data in general. Namely, as you can see, there's a lot of variation here. The way it's been asked has varied so much that you get wildly different, sort of answers depending on how you ask it. And social desirabilities. Furries may actually be more willing to admit these things or to say these things because it's in the fandom they may be perceived as being normal than the general population. If I go up to a furry and say, "Are you romantically or sexually attracted to animals?" Furries at least have a general idea of why I'm asking. They know what the stigma is. They know what the stereotype is. If I go up to a random person in the streets, what the hell are you talking about, right? Like,
Yeah, he got knocked out.
yeah. So these are some problems. This is why it's really hard to get data on this. That's the best data we have to date. So the data seems to suggest, strong that it doesn't happen anymore in the furry fandom than the general population. And we don't have any strong evidence one way or another to say that furries are more likely to be attracted to stuffed animals than the general population. So, are male furries exclusively homosexual?
Yes.
So, to explain this figure, the blue bars are non-furries. These are a control sample. The red bars are furries. Okay? The left here means I'm straight, exclusively straight.
Holy
The right
cow.
part is I'm completely homosexual. This is what the average person said in terms of 80% of the average person said I'm completely straight. Only about 25% of furries said they were completely straight.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Furries are all over the place on this one.
Come on, just admit who you are.
Does that explain things?
Surprised with that data.
Pardon?
Does that explain things?
What do you mean explain things?
I mean, we're all over the map.
All over the place.
We're
There's a gray zone.
So we asked about things like, are you equally hetero and homosexual? Are you mostly hetero and homosexual? It's all over the place.
The Kinsey scale.
They're confused.
What? Sorry, what?
They're confused.
Not one big spike.
Here, this is one of my favorite figures. Okay, so among furries, we said, okay, tell us about your sexual orientation, then tell us about your persona's sexual orientation. On average, for the average furry, their persona is about 1 point more gay than they are.
Only slightly! Only slightly!
Averages. So this one says that females in the furry fandom are more likely to be straights than males in the furry fandom.
No!
I have really depressing news for the straight males in the fandom. Wait for it, it's coming. So, are male furries more likely to be exclusively homosexual?
Yeah.
They're not exclusively homosexual, but they're more likely to be, much more likely than the general population. Now, is it the case, this is another weird one we get, that males in the fandom are single loners who don't have sex? This somehow is in the same boat as this one. People lump these two together even though it makes no sense.
No.
So, relationship status. If you are a male in the fandom, you are 3 times more likely to be single than if you are a female in the fandom.
Yeah, that just makes us feel no better now, doesn't it?
Females in the fandom are about twice as likely to be dating, twice as likely to be engaged, 3 or 4 times more likely to be married. Someone had asked me at one point whether it was the case that, so the general, one of the stereotypes is that furries are these crazy people who have all kinds of crazy kinky sex. This other person tried to set the record straight and say, well no, furries, I did some statistics and found that furries actually have less sex than the average person.
Okay, I gotta call BS.
Here's where they made a mistake. They were looking only at straight sex, not at gay sex. Once you look at both of them, you find that furries have about as much sex as everyone else. Yay!
I have no idea what that
So there's some evidence to suggest they're single, and that male furries are more likely to be single, but not sexless.
So why is there a star?
Because it's partially true.
Should be half a star.
Should be a rainbow star.
Yeah, rainbow star, thank you.
I will change it for the next talk.
Make it a rainbow.
Effeminate males. So this last one. Is it the case that males in the fandom are more likely to be effeminate?
Yes.
Yes. So, here is, I consider myself entirely male. I consider myself entirely female on a continuum. So it makes sense that males are more likely to consider themselves males and females are more likely to consider themselves female.
Duh.
But what we find is that females in the fandom are more likely to gender bend than males are.
Really?
If you're a female in the fandom, you're more likely to have a more masculine persona than males in the fandom are to have a more feminine persona.
What?
I've seen that a lot actually.
Really?
Nope, we control for that. So, this is a new one. We got asked about master-pet relationships. We were not allowed to ask this one at Anthrocon. This is the only question that Kage vetoed. I'm not commenting. I'm just saying that was the case.
Well, that's because Kage, he's all in.
I'm not saying
He's
anything. I'm serious.
Kage won't admit it.
I'm not.
Wow.
I'm not saying anything about Kage. I'm just saying this is one of the only questions that was not able to make it on, and I can see his point because it's a potentially problematic, icky issue, and he didn't want it at his fandom. I'm not saying I agree with him or disagree with him. That's his fandom, his choice, or his con.
Con.
I've been speaking for over an hour. Give me a break.
Yeah, he invented furry.
So, all right, this is a cool one. All right, so this right here, we asked furries who are in relationships. Okay. Rest furries, how did you meet your partner? Did you meet them in the fandom? Did they drag you into the fandom? Did you drag them into the fandom? And furries were very likely to have met their partner through the fandom. Now wait. It matters whether or not you are straight or gay. If you are gay, you very likely meet your partner through the fandom. If you are straight, bring a partner into the fandom.
Moral of the story, right there.
And so, but I'm actually serious. There's a lot of furries who are straight in the fandom and say, "I'm really lonely. I can't find a partner in the fandom." A lot of the women in the fandom, not average, a lot of the women in the fandom are in the fandom because they were brought in by a partner, or they have other reasons, like they're an artist in the fandom. but it's not typically the case. You're barking up the wrong tree if you're trying to find a female partner in the fandom. I guess the idea.
I like how you said.
Here we go.
You guys brought
He's a brony.
This was the only image that I actually felt bad about putting in my talk. So, here we go.
Fired.
Hey, get back to work, boy. You ain't done yet.
Alright,
I don't care.
here we go. Furries and pornography. So we did online, we had a really large questionnaire that we asked about. We asked for the first time, we asked a lot of questions about pornography, which is something that it's been a really sticky issue we were kind of concerned about asking about. We finally got it through an ethics board, we kind of finally got the guys to do it. The ethics board let us ask it. So, here we go. We had males and females estimate what percentage of male furries view furry porn.
Wow.
This is what males and females guessed. They're pretty comparable. What percent of female furries view furry porn? And they guessed. They were pretty comparable. Do you view furry pornography?
The internet is really, really great.
Alright. I don't know. What we have here now is a figure asking you to estimate how positive or female you think males and females feel towards pornography in the fandom. So the blue bars are estimates of males. People estimated that on average males felt much more positively about pornography than females did. No! These are the estimates, right? The real figures. Now it's interesting that a lot of females feel very ambivalent about pornography in the fandom, and there's a number of reasons possibly why. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But there is some evidence to suggest that yes, males in the fandom feel a lot more positively towards pornography than women in the fandom do.
Yeah, women draw it.
You got a point there.
So, furries' attitude towards non-furry pornography. So we said, okay, if you're looking at pornography, do you look only at furry pornography? Or how do you feel about non-furry pornography? Do you look at that too, or is it only furry pornography?
Only furry.
We find that a lot of furries actually feel very negatively towards non-furry pornography.
Bad dragon!
Such a bad dragon. Why aren't you in my car right now?
So,
Fuck you.
Okay,
guys.
where, baby?
keep it civil. Alright. So, what we find is that male furries' pornography usage is more furry than females. So males are more likely, 17% of males say I only look at furry pornography. Only about 2% of females say that they look at exclusively furry pornography.